Okay, so Elsa Bloodstone is the latest character to drop in Marvel Rivals at the time of recording. She hit lobbies and immediately began dominating. If you look at the skins available for her at launch, you'll notice her base skin is ginger, but her alternate skin is blonde. If you ever wondered what the deal with that is, well Bucky, this is the video for you. This isn't necessarily a lore breakdown, I'll leave that to YouTubers like Sir Superhero. This is the comic evolution of something much more shallow, her looks. But here, on this channel, we don't just ogle over the pretty ladies, I try to examine the costumes and art styles from a character design standpoint. I like to put the focus on the artists and writers responsible for the big advancements. I'm relatively new to hero shooters and comic books in general, but I've been studying character design my whole life. For some reason, I even went to school for it. Hit like and press subscribe and let's get on with the video. So, who the heck is Elsa Bloodstone anyways? In short, she's a no-nonsense, British as hell monster hunter who took over the monster hunting business from her dead father who she never met, Ulysses Bloodstone. Ulysses is a character from 1975 who debuted on the pages of Marvel Presents #1. It was written by John Warner with art by Gil Kane. His backstory is wacky beyond belief and is definitely a product of the drugged out 70s in which it was created. I'm just gonna dumb it down so we can get back to talking about Elsa real quick. You see, Ulysses has a chunk of alien rock known as Bloodstone lodged into his chest. This rock gives him superpowers. He uses these powers to hunt monsters and collect treasures. I first learned of his daughter Elsa Bloodstone in the 2019 Deadpool series by Kelly Thompson with art by Chris Bachalo. If you're reading Absolute Wonder Woman by any chance, you may enjoy this Deadpool series as it's written by the same author. Kelly Thompson is the GOAT in my opinion. I instantly fell in love with Emma Bloodstone's personality, attitude, and aesthetic. But she didn't always look like this. Elsa Bloodstone first appeared in 2001 in a solo series of her own. She was created to capitalize on the Buffy and Tomb Raider crazes of the time. But capitalize she did not. This series ran for 4 issues, then the character would just vanish. Elsa's modern design is badass, but I would call her design in this 2001 book problematic. And that's me being charitable. While this story is serviceable, there's no reason to present a teenage character like this. They do clarify that she is 18, but the way she's written is that of a teenager on a road trip with her mom. It's a tonal misfire to draw her like this, especially if she's going to be written like she's still a child. It was written by Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, who are famous for fleshing out the Guardians of the Galaxy universe. I don't want to place the blame of Elsa's questionable design on them entirely, but there are definitely questionable moments written in this book as well as drawn. It's clear to me that artist Michael Lopez is a gooner-minded artist who used adult material as reference for a lot of the poses found in this book. The comic itself reads like a kid's cartoon, that is, up until they make references to her pervy outfit and her distracting chest. There's no way this story needed this to tell this story, right? Just because they were self-aware of it being pervy doesn't make it not weird. I'm not over here pearl clutching. I have no problem with a sexy Crusader character. In fact, I'm a big fan. It's just strange to write her like she's a kid, or at least like she still has a childlike relationship with her mom. The design here would actually kind of work if they just made her a couple years older. This costume does resemble her dad's old outfit, which was the intention behind it. His chest was completely exposed, so the artist definitely had license to represent that feature on Elsa as well. It's just the juvenile way she's written, combined with a lot of the gestures and poses that make me feel very weird when reading this book. I could tell the letterer placed boxes of text over some parts of the artwork that seemed to be a little bit too risque. That was basically her first look, my friends. Tied blue top, khaki pants, fur-lined leather jacket, fingerless gloves, and black boots. It was just a femme fatale version of her dad's old costume, not overly inspired stuff here. Elsa would also inherit the powers of the Bloodstone. Her Bloodstone isn't embedded into her chest like her father's was. Instead, her shard is a gem placed on a choker that she found when going through her dad's old stuff. When she put it on, it gave her the same powers it gave her father. Those powers include an immunity to vampires, psychic skills like telepathy, superhuman agility, reflexes, speed, stamina, senses, with third eye power, whatever that means, and a regenerative healing factor. Elsa is also famous for her use of guns. She loves guns, bro. I suggest you hit like on this video or she might hunt you next. In 2006, after 5 years on the shelf, Marvel dusted Elsa off and completely redesigned and reworked her character. She's still very much the daughter of Ulysses Bloodstone, but now she's a fully grown adult woman with red hair, orange bodysuit, big trench coat, and thigh-high boots. This is a badass design. I think Marvel must have known that their first attempt at making a Monster Hunter successor to Ulysses was a complete fail. Otherwise, I don't think this redesign would have been so dramatic. I'm happy they did this rework. This look is much more iconic, where I found her debut blonde look to be generic and uninspired. Here she appears in her new look in a book called Nextwave, Agents of Hate, written by Warren Ellis with art by Stuart Immonen. This book is satire that comments on and makes fun of the Marvel Universe in which it exists. Over-the-top violence and comedy are what make this book stand out. Elsa's characterization is no different. She's an exaggerated caricature of a British bounty hunter archetype. That's not said to minimize her. I actually love this. This might be the biggest reimagining of a character that I've covered on this channel. This is actually pretty exciting. I love comedy and satire, dude, and the fact that they reimagined a questionable Bucky knockoff character into this is something I truly appreciate. What was once vapid and hollow is now fresh, fun, and exciting. Improvements were made. This is what I love about comic book characters. A strange idea like Fabio with a gem in his chest can emerge in the 70s, sit around for a while, then 40 years later turn into a generic teen Monster Hunter character, and then out of nowhere morph into a sardonic and irreverent comedy character. In my opinion, Ellis and Immonen saved Elsa Bloodstone with this series. She's funny, tough, cool, foul-mouthed, British, and most importantly, she just really loves shooting monsters and beating people up. She's like Tank Girl if Tank Girl bathed. This version of Elsa Bloodstone would be the version to stick around in the main Marvel universe. Her previous lore be damned, I guess. This version was just too appealing to scrap. You know what else is appealing? You hitting the subscribe button. Elsa would essentially be a side character moving forward. She'd kind of just pop in and out of other characters' books when they needed a monster to be hunted. Like I mentioned earlier, that's how I met her. She popped up in Deadpool when Deadpool went up against a bunch of monsters on Staten Island. Again, read that Deadpool book if you can. Kelly Thompson is the best, bro. The next book is only in this video because of its status as a key issue for collectors and for its relevance to Marvel Rivals fans. Marvel Assistant Size Spectacular #2 came out in 2009, and it features the first appearance of Galacta, the daughter of Galactus. For those who play Rivals, they know Galacta's voice very well as she commentates every single match. If you were curious about where she came from, it was here in this extremely low-selling book. The story, not great. The art, also not so great. I don't mean any disrespect, but when compared to other stuff within its own Marvel universe, it's clear that this is subpar. This book is an anthology, so Elsa Bloodstone doesn't appear in the same story as Galacta. Instead, she features in a tiny little solo story written by Chris Yost with art by Joe James. It's a fun, quick read if you get your hands on it, but it's not nearly as fun or as essential as Nextwave. Nextwave fucking rules. In 2011, we got Legion of Monsters. I'm including it in this video because of how much I love the artwork. But not only that though, it was here in my reading that I realized Elsa Bloodstone might be the coolest character in the entire Marvel universe. This book is considered a key issue because it introduces a new roster to the Legion of Monsters title. I didn't read past the first issue, but it's definitely something I want to return to. The tone is dark and demonic, and the contrast of that mixed with Elsa's comedic character is an absolute treat to read. As far as the costume goes, not much has changed. Orange on orange, big ponytail and jacket, and guns. You know the gimmick. Now is when things get a little weird again, but weird in a good way this time. In 2015, for Marvel Zombies, writer Simon Spurrier and artist Kev Walker tried to explain the hair color change. This story is a lot more serious in tone than Nextwave or any of her appearances since. Like any good superhero backstory, this one introduces the element of trauma. Here, we're basically retconning her scantily clad Buffy days, because in this story, although she is shown as a blonde child, she is also shown knowing her father, and that is a direct contradiction to the first story. In Marvel Zombies, there are flashbacks to young Elsa when she was basically a child warrior in training under her dad's tutelage. It is shown that when she was a child, maybe 6 or 7 years old, she had blonde hair. During a fight with a monster, her dad thought Elsa took 10 seconds too long to win the fight. As punishment, he didn't allow her to wash the monster's blood out of her hair. The properties of the monster blood soaked into her scalp painfully and permanently changed the color of her hair. It's not the best explanation from a continuity perspective, but whatever, I'll take it, at least it's creative. On the covers of this run, she's shown wearing a metallic blue bodysuit, which unfortunately does not make an official appearance in the actual story. So, it doesn't actually count. This story gives Elsa a more brooding edge, which I personally like a little less. It totally works for the character, so I'm not really complaining. We love a little trauma in our comic books, don't we, folks? Hit like for childhood trauma. Let's jump to the late 2010s because I just want to talk about the writer of Absolute Wonder Woman again. In 2018, Kelly Thompson wrote the West Coast Avengers. In that series, she created Jeff the Landshark. It was shortly after this series, Kelly expressed interest to Marvel in writing an Elsa Bloodstone series of her own. It didn't need to be an ongoing, a limited series just to correct the wrongs of the original solo series would be enough. Marvel denied this request and instead greenlit a one-page story featuring Elsa and Jeff the Landshark for Kelly to write instead. This one-page story is called Monsters, and it appeared on the pages of Marvel 1000. Kelly Thompson is amazing at so many things when it comes to writing fiction. One of the skills she possesses is her ability to develop relationships between characters. Her work in creating the dynamic between Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman this year is nothing short of masterful. Her work on this one-page one-shot featuring Elsa and Jeff did so much to establish the relationship between these two characters. I feel Elsa's love for Jeff leap off this page. Kelly tells so much story in just 5 panels. The first panel is just Elsa describing her place in this world. Then it's revealed she's saying all this to Jeff. She reminds Jeff that Jeff is a monster just like the ones that she hunts, so he better behave. Then there's this pause, and in the final panel, we get an extreme close-up of Elsa's face looking as intense as ever as she reassures Jeff that she will destroy anything that tries to harm him. This conversation being set around a campfire makes the relationship feel friendly, casual, and meaningful, like a moment shared between two good friends. As a reader, this feels like the middle of a story, and it forces me to imagine how these two ended up here and where they're going next. This one page alone gives me an appetite for a full arc featuring these characters written by Kelly Thompson. Oh, smack! That already exists. You know that Deadpool series I already mentioned a couple times? Well, it's kind of that, but not really though. That story does feature all these characters, but what I really want is a story where Elsa Bloodstone is the main character. Kelly Thompson already proved she can write the character, and she has a genuine passion for the Bloodstone lore. After reading Absolute Wonder Woman, I can only imagine the lore and mythology Kelly would bring to the Bloodstone canon. Come on, Marvel, get it together. We want that book, now more than ever. What with Elsa being in the mainstream spotlight for what feels like the first time ever. I can't praise Kelly Thompson enough. If her name is on a title, you're guaranteed quality. In 2021, we got Black Knight, Curse of the Ebony Blade by Simon Spurrier and Sergio Davila. I'll be honest, I haven't gotten around to reading this one yet, but it does give us a new look for Elsa. She comes smashing through this window on a motorcycle wearing a suit that is very reminiscent of the one worn by the bride in Kill Bill. I like this costume in theory, but the execution is not really my favorite. I can see Marvel Rivals putting an amazing spin on this concept though, but that's yet to be seen. Oh, did you think I was done talking about Kelly Thompson? Foolish underling. Not only is Kelly working for DC right now, writing the Absolute Wonder Woman title, she's also writing the current Jeff the Landshark run for Marvel. Although, I think this one is wrapped up time of recording. This series is a lot more lighthearted and kid-friendly than Elsa Bloodstone's typical dark and gloomy tone. But that doesn't mean it's not good. I love this book because Kelly finally got a chance to flesh out the relationship between Elsa and Jeff. I read this run as it was coming out month to month, and I gotta say, even though my channel name is I Hate Jeff, I absolutely loved this Jeff comic book. Not only do I love the writing, but I also love the way Elsa is drawn. I prefer the work of Gurihiru on Jeff, but Toki Takoro does a great job as well. The art is very loose, sketchy, and expressive. It flows from page to page. The panel-to-panel storytelling is great. And now with all that costume history knowledge under our belts, we can finally see how the comics inform the Marvel Rivals designs. Elsa Bloodstone came to Marvel Rivals February 13th, 2026. She dropped with two main skins. Her base skin, which everyone can play, and this Youngblood skin, which is based off her first appearance. Her base skin is a pretty big redesign from the comics. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it yet. I do kind of miss the all-orange costume, but I appreciate how they kept the trench coat and made that orange to keep the same color motif going. I kind of like the pirate shirt, but it feels more like a pirate variant skin and not really base skin worthy. Overall, it is a strong design that clearly communicates her powers and personality. So even though I missed the onslaught of orange, I have a strong appreciation for what the devs were trying to accomplish with this design. Now for the Youngblood skin. This is exactly what I was talking about when we discussed the book that it came from. If she's not depicted as a child, this outfit is fine. Even the gooners over there at Marvel Rivals put an undershirt underneath the blue shirt, which is something the first artist actively avoided. There's nothing overtly inappropriate about this skin, and it totally fits within the art style of the game. As a fan of comics, I really do appreciate they included this as her secondary look. I'm a fan of when the game includes skins that are direct nods to the source material. And we all know how much Marvel Rivals loves blondes wearing blue and white. And now that we got another one, I predict Elsa may become another one of the developers' favorites as it pertains to new epic skins, events, and stuff like that. I was scared she was going to play more like Black Widow, and I'm relieved to say that that's not the case. She's much more close to a Bucky, if anything, but she's totally her own beast. I haven't learned to play her yet, as you can clearly tell by this gameplay. And that, my friends, is my Elsa Bloodstone video. If you're looking for any reading recommendations from this video, it's obviously anything that has Kelly Thompson's name on it. But other than that, Nextwave, Legion of Monsters, and Marvel Zombies. I liked Elsa Bloodstone fine enough before I made this video, but now I see massive potential for the character. You know, folks, I really appreciate you watching this video and rocking with the channel. I couldn't spend all this time reading comics and sharing my love for them if it weren't for you awesome people watching the videos. So, thank you so much. I love comic books with all of my heart, and these videos give me a great opportunity to catch up on the art form that I've missed out on for so long. If you only play Marvel Rivals, that's chill, but I will say, cracking open a comic book only enriches the experience. Okay, thanks for watching or whatever.